worked with us in Apollo Hospital as a very energetic young cardiologist. He's still young, not gaining weight at all. Today, why are you not gaining weight? Today, why are you not gaining weight? Exactly same weight since you worked in Apollo that time. Okay, so the topic which is there, which is very close to my heart, is Transcatheter implantation, which we all are doing actually all over India. But I would like to take a historical aspect, especially giving tribute to my mentor, Professor Alan Didier, who was my mentor. I finished work with him in 1996 to 1998. At that time, we never thought that this TAVI, which was in his mind at that time, was still not in the process of experimentation. And we have the thanks. So, Professor Alan Didier, the father of TAVI, I was talking to Dr. Antonio Colombo only 2 days back. And Antonio Colombo is also one of the very tall figure in interventional cardiology from Italy. So when I told him that since I have no more with Alan Didier, so you will see one Premier, he said, no. Premier made a big change in interventional cardiology. I made a small change. So people like Antonio Colombo, who are stalwarts for the cardiology complex angioplasty, they have that respect for him. So I think it is my proud privilege, and I have a lot of friends and teachers, senior colleagues sitting here, so it will be one of the important topics for me to present. So first implant was there in 2002, but I will share a few of the videos also. Ever since I stayed with him, some pictures, memorable photographs, we never knew that he will leave us so soon. He was sitting again, sitting on the, we watching TV and ejection fraction of 25%, never thought of the ICU. So these are the two pictures when he came to my residence, and I will not take much time. This was the first case from India. We were done in France in Rouen. I was there with him. November 2011, ECGI had not yet approved TAVI in India. And the patient flew from India to France after doing initial workup, 40 minutes procedure at that time with him, including starting purpose, function, discharge, time. The first implant was done in April 2002, so almost more than 22 years. And ever since the first implant was done by this man who was thinking about the valve ever since. The few photographs of the first 20th anniversary of TAVI was celebrated just after the EuroPCI village of event in 1952. I was part of that program. And all over countries, people like Jean Marco, Jean Pagane, Patrick Salah, they were all in the audience. So I was myself thinking that the big Martin Leon, the big people were there to listen how it worked in the 20th anniversary. That's why they had signed up the number 2 in the Shadipur Hospital in Goa. So, there are a few memorable videos I would like to actually share this particular video. This was actually shot when I tried him. This was the last, I think, his presence when he came to CSI, Calcutta, in Calcutta 2 years back. And that time I never knew that this would be my last video with him. So he spoke something where can we have the sound, please? Can we have the sound? He spoke something and he never knew that he will be actually not looking again. Can we have the sound?
In India, they made a very special valve, which is extremely efficient, and the my valve from Ariel, which is a company based in TAVI in India, which is excellent, probably one of the best.
It was a small review, but this was a video which I used to work with him in 1990. We have this was a video very interesting when he came to my Santa warehouse. I always share this video because this was one of the most important videos. This is right for the last minute for him. You see the sense of humor. Sense of humor. And of course, he was driving the car into
enjoying the driving
last time when I came that time. This was a small pad during the time of 50th anniversary of my son Chinmay in piano at his residence in 96, 97, 98. The welcome address, one of the few other memorable anniversary of the 10 years back. And of course now coming on to this. We are missing him, but of course he could have done much more. He had another percutaneous bypass and another project which he was trying to break percutaneous bypass other than angioplasty. So things are, people don't come back, but it's a very emotional day for me because when I talk of Vivek, he was very close to me personally. That's why he came to my house. So coming on to the topic, the plan of presentation will be scope of problem of degenerative aortic stenosis, balloon aortic valvoplasty, what it is, development of non-surgical valve, case report step by step, then into my level, current indications. Development TAVI and long road degenerative pitfalls. Lesson learned from the experience of future innovators. Having idea is not enough. You may have idea, but you have to implement it. Translating it into reality requires a combination of elements proving that your idea is good. Mental strength, capable of overcoming criticism, but you will have criticism if you have a new idea. Finding the right partner in the financial advance, rigorous scientific research respecting the process of optimal translation research. Failure of any of these elements can lead to failure of the entire project. So the project it was in mind 96, 97, 98. He said never give up, but perseverance is the key word, and it actually worked. Since 1985 in Roma, developing a two successive innovation. The first aortic valvoplasty was done by LMTV in 1985. Published in Bedside in 1986. It was one of the most important things ever. A lot of people came to learn, including Martin Leon, Martin. They all went to Roma to find out how we are able to do balloon aortic valvoplasty, because finally aortic valve is a big problem here and you have to be very good in breaking the balloon on this. And from that time till 2002, in the first case was his ambition and he did it. So it was the first case of aortic valvoplasty, glory and breakup or bomb effect of the medical community, but of course there were no lasting results. Early valve stenosis 80% at 1 year. 40 years later, our PF is still alive because that is required by when you are putting the valve. Give up the fight, give up or fight up. This was a transcatheter aortic valve which was developed by him. I want to give you this slide, very important. 1994, when we were looking for the sponsor, he talked to Stradivarius, he talked to Medtronic. Everybody said, most stupid project ever heard, just follow it. This was the email reply which he was showing to me again. And now the same Edward company and Medtronic are selling the similar valve like hot cake all over the world. So this was the idea which was initially accepted and then he did it. So this is the TAVI of 15 years long from the idea to first in man. 1985, first in man project, 1987. Rural Landmark, accounts study 1994. I joined in 96, at that time we were looking for the sponsor and all the biomedical companies contacted, nobody was ready. Then finally they make a PVT, they make a company, the startup company with the help of New Jersey, Martin Leon. 1999 they made their own company with the help of Israeli engineers. The PVT hat one was developed and first in 2002. So from 1994 to 2002 it was a big problem. Not problem, it's a big challenge for him how to find a sponsoring company. Without a sponsoring company, you cannot have an innovative idea. So early valve restenosis TAVI option was impossible and insane. And you can see this valve was developed, valve structure was biological or polymer, transcatheter approach was used. Preclinical evaluation was done in sheep model. More than 100, I was talking to Ellen Alshina, who was the second person. She said more than 100 such experimentation was done before they realized that it is possible to do it, but then of course there was major difference between the sheep aortic valve versus the human aortic valve. So after 60 was the day the dream comes true. 57-year-old dying patient, cardiac shock, EF of 12%. Aortic valve area 0.6 size, bicuspid valve. First case was bicuspid valve. Multiple comorbidity, acute ischemia, complicated aortic hypertension, but floating thrombus in the LV, no femoral access, failed transcatheter. This is another thing which I want to tell you. They gave me transcatheter femoral because there was no arterial approach available. So in fact, they had planned to do an antegrade, but they had to do retrograde because of this. Sorry, retrograde, but they wanted to do antegrade. The second complaint in the medical community is the enthusiasm, credibility, and the surgeon said him again. That was the first in man done there. So first in man was convincing result of TAVI results. CT post TAVI was, you can see confirmation of our 1994 anatomical observation. And the post TAVI normal malfunction every man area of 1.6. From 2002 to 2005, 38 patients compassionate, that means the patients who were dying, who were otherwise not fit for surgery, were taken up. 50% survival from 1 to 6.5 years with return to normal life. Key role of patient improvement or early recognition of functional TAVI. You can see such ladies who were there blowing trumpet, and they were the people who were the part of the 2002-2005 series. The first ever TAVI offshore came when Martin Leon did it in New York, John Webb in Vancouver, Canada, Detroit, Bernard O'Neill. Of course, Patrick Sarat from Rotterdam, another tall figure from International Cardiology, Colombo from Italy. With some breakthrough results, more than 100 patients were passed in 2005, the first in 2002. Edward Life Sciences were good, smart enough. They acquired TAVI. The company which was formed by Martin Leon was acquired. बड़ी मछली छोटी मछली तो क्या activity TAVI is a new era, new valve, new delivery system, new approaches. Prepared advert valve which was done was changed to advert setting. Initially the valve which was being sold was prepared advert valve which was 23 required pericardium on third vector. It was changed to advert setting 23 and 26 valve. Treated bovine pericardium it was required. Now the bovine pericardium 50% external coverage. Then of course John Webb started doing he did this retrograde approach, and then Germany, of course, went back and poured more. They did. With these two approaches, although there was no limitation for transcatheter approach was also discovered by two surgeons and distributed in Germany. 2005 launch of concurrent device self-expanding. I want to tell you the previous valve, which is record valve, the new expanding valve, the self-expanding was coming up through data required by Medtronic. Of course, the people Herbert Rube and LC Lobodov. The start of care and ongoing competition between two TAVI system concepts, one is self-expanding and another is balloon expanding. So from 2005, no one could have predicted that continuous expansion of TAVI over 20 years. The reason of success, continuous rapid technological improvement, making TAVI faster, easier, major proper severe complication, good patient selection, pre-coverage of MSCT, multiplex CT scan, advanced TAVI system, 24 French, 18 to 20 French, 40 to 16 French, 14 French, and then 40 to 16 French, Medtronic Corbel, start from 2006, and then of course Boston Scientific and St. Medal, our Indian company, they have come up with the MyWeb we are using regularly. The transluminal approach has become the default strategy in 95% of cases since 2021. The reason for success pioneered by the group was the simplification, minimization approach. In most of the American centers, initially they were using general anesthesia. While the simplification was, I remember the patient who was there first Indian patient was also in local anesthesia, and of course which we are doing regularly. But simplification was in, but Americans were still doing general anesthesia for a long time. Two approaches, one follower, two nurses, one agent, local approach, no TE, no transcatheter, pulmonary control system, process duration 30 to 40 minutes, patient started in 3 days. That was one of the another reason for, of course, huge use of this drug. From 2005, no one could have predicted 1,000 patients enrolled in multi-center registry, NEGM publication in France, class 2 trial, fast TAVI registry, MAC registry versus surgical or replacement, randomized trial versus surgical or inpatient of decreasing with the advanced electronic TAVI system, in new paradigm, 2002, as we are in rigorous scientific evaluation, and partner 1, partner 2, and partner 3 trials were very important trials, which were done. Partner 1 was inoperative high risk patient, partner 2 confirmed the intermediate risk patient, and partner 3 was the low risk patient that was, and that did FDA approval in 2016 for the intermediate risk. FDA approved 2012 partner 1 for the inoperative patient, and later on in 2019 they approved for even low risk patients. So non-inferiority or superiority of TAVI was established, and in surgical aortic valve replacement and comparative result in Medtronic core valve also was done simultaneously. I think no one detected that position TAVI set by 3 Medtronic evolved. More than 30 lakh patients are now there. This was a few years old slide. More than 40 lakh patients have been done worldwide in more than 80 countries, and the future of TAVI is brighter. How can we predict the future of TAVI? Further technological advancement, growing number of patients, aging population, scientific evolution, moderate years with heart failure, moderate asymptomatic years, severe years. These are few categories where we are discussing whether we will do it or not. Decreasing TAVI cost and reimbursement, this will be important for Indian patients, especially when you have to increase the number of patients. Some remaining issues, long-term durability of TAVI processing, that is why young patients are still not indicated. If I say for year-old patient who wants a TAVI, who will be not very hesitant to do a TAVI procedure. No alarm, severe single vessel disease, 0 to 40 re-intervention is possible, but require only 1.3% of cases in history up to 8 years. Partner 3 at 5 years, they confirmed aortic valve gradient, prostatic valve failure, aortic valve variant, valve failure, any cause of re-intervention was only 1% of patients. Remaining issues, no long-term durability, another issue. As of now, for 10 years availability, 10 years longevity of the valve is almost confirmed, but more than 10 years of the valve today. Prevention of minor complications, mild BPM, BPM, genetic already access, higher prevalence of carbide vascular valve, and of course, prepare to give number of SVD. So developing TAVI a long journey, 27 years in PAV, 1985 PAV in aortic balloon, aortic valvuloplasty, 20 years in Spain, 22 years, 1985, 1994 was the company just to memorize and just to revise. 1999 set up, 2000 aortic valve, just one minute, 2002 Agra, with TAVI, and then feasibility study, Transcatheter approach, and World Life Sciences took over in 2004, CE mark was in 2007, Partner 1, Partner 2, and Partner 3 to the 19 expansion to all comers. Besides TAVI, many interventional cardiology for treating other valvular structural heart disease has given the entire medical community. For example, we are now using treating tricuspid as well as mitral valve. So this was a case report. I'm not going to detail, but I'm going to show you the last result that was there in the last how the valve was put in that time, and I will just show you one picture, and then we'll finalize the talk. With a lot of people have to speak about after this. So this was how it was done. The few pictures of the valve, sapien 1, and then it was patient was discharged the third day of the big back, and that's why it was there was mild aortic degeneration, but in the second day of echo it was confirmed that it was not there, and the patient lived for 10 years post TAVI. He died recently because of the kidney failure. The valve was still functioning. There was no valve failure in this particular patient. And the patient had created a 2.2, and because we know the minimal dye is used, the patient was followed, and the patient died recently. So this was the two pictures. So you can see people clapping over the word. I want to repeat the word of Antonio Colombo last week in Canada Television. I had a spot place to be with him. He said India made a big change in interventional cardiology. I made a small change. Because Antonio Colombo, remember, he was the father of high pressure stenting. When the stent was being developed, nobody was going more than 6 atmospheres. He was the first in India that to go to 14 atmospheres, and that reduced the chances of some acute thrombosis because good deployment of the stent. So he, a man who did a lot of things, and he said, India made a big change, I made a small change in interventional cardiology. We lost him recently, it is a very sad day. That day it was April last year, and he never wanted that he never thought that he would die so soon. He was always full of energy and a sudden cardiac death. I always say that guidelines are there to be guided, not to be imposed. A person of 45% or 40% ejection fraction with an aortic cardiac can always for a local patient die. But of course, we have to be, of course, you can't do the ICD to everybody. And the ICD is very great. Similarly, another friend of mine, Rajesh Srivastava, and the ICD was 50% here. We all had some cardiac death. So, thank you very much for this student giving me a talk. It was just a small division from 2002 till. Lot has changed in more than 49% of Indians worldwide. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Vivek Gupta, for a wonderful illustration of the TAVI. I have a
still, we cannot have a TAVI any company that can access. So if we have to do that, this requires companies that they should reduce their profit margin. But most of that they have now taken, they have made a huge profit of the R&D. Actually, we can come down to 5 lakhs rupees. I think that will be really very helpful. Very basic, because then you can compare the surgical aortic valve in a corporate hospital, for the our hospital, let's say we are, it costs like 5 lakhs including everything. And if the cost of the TAVI valve is also for 5 lakhs and additional 2 lakhs in the hospital, 7 lakhs, so that I think more. And second important thing is not only that, I think the young population, I personally feel, although I have spoken to many people, regarding 45-year-old bicuspid transcatheter deficiency, he wanted TAVI, so we do it. He said no, because it will not last for 10 years, and after 10 years you do a surgical or TAVI death. So TAVI is a good opportunity. I would like to give to my patient even at 40 years of age or 45 years of age. Although guidelines are still not clear on this, so this cost versus young patients, then we have a more number of such patients. As of now, we are elderly patients, more than 55, 60, you can justify it. Because the biprosthetic valve is to degenerate. It is not like a stainless steel valve where it is lifelong. So I think the two aspects, the cost has to come down, and we all community can request the companies to do it. For the advert valve is still costing 22 lakhs, which is a huge cost. The cost of the valve is 22, another 5 lakhs, 27 lakhs is not easy to try to manage.
Young aortic stenosis patient, maybe 30-year-old patient, how do you see TAVR, SAVR approach versus the hospital?
It's what I was talking, that young patients normally do not know this patient for TAVI. Despite having severe aortic stenosis, we are talking of bicuspid degenerated aortic valve because of calcium. They have it, but because the prosthetic valve, biprosthetic valve has got a limited life of 10 years. This is what we expect. Yeah, this is provide criteria. So we don't say that you should go, but we normally go for surgical aortic valve replacement. If somebody wants it, then it's a question of discretion, and I think with the permission taken from the authorities and the hospital informed and doing the application and guidance from the patient and the consent taken that after 5 years, 10 years you are using it and then you can go for TAVI or maybe new technology comes up, you never know. Technology is moving so fast in AI and other things, and maybe after 10 years you will have something more interesting than what we are doing today. Thank you.
So, Gupta, a few points which I want to make being a cardiac surgeon. Number one, the low risk, what you categorize as you yourself showed in your presentation, they have not compromised on the age, they have compromised on the comorbidities.
Can you speak to the mic?
I'm speaking to the mic only. What I mean to say, when you're talking about the low risk patients, we're only talking about patients who have low comorbidities. In low comorbidities.
Yeah,
Not the age. The age, 1 second, sir, let me finish talking. As per your presentation also, the cutoff age has been 75 years. They may have less comorbidities. They have not included patients who are at 50 or 45. I will bring your attention to a paper published last year in Annals of Thoracic Surgery, the STS data, where they have shown the fastest growing operation in the United States of America is explantation of the TAVI valves. Fastest growing operation. And not only that, a morbidity and mortality very high. Mortality to the tune of 15 to 20% to explant these valves. And a stroke rate of 5 to 7%. So, no, this is the STS data, this is not my data. You can access the Annals of Sir, just give me 2 minutes. I'm not talking about TAVI, I'm talking about failure of TAVI and explantation of the valve. The stroke rate being to the tune of 5 to 7%, published in Annals of Thoracic Surgery, April 2024. And the fastest growing operation, you can imagine how much is the misuse. So therefore, let me tell you, I'll just listen to me first. I have a lot of respect for this technology, but not for everybody. Not for everybody. This is to be selected patients where we can use this technology. The surgical aortic valve replacement is still the gold standard. Let's not carry this message that TAVI is the answer to those problems.
I was trying to show the slide actually, if your time. Earlier, surgical valve replacement was indicated. Earlier, TAVI was indicated when surgical aortic valve replacement was not possible. Now, surgical aortic valve replacement is indicated when TAVI is not possible.
That's not right. So you show me the data what substantiates your statement.
I would like
Last but not the least.
Explantation of the valve.
So, last but not the least, American Heart Association last year said in the best scenario, the longevity of this valve is not more than 5 years. And similarly, one of a very aggressive cardiologist who happens to be a friend of mine, he says any number of claims may be made, who's a very aggressive TAVI cardiologist. He says, I can tell you, it's not going to last for more than 4 to 5 years. And with the use of my valve, it's going to come down to 3 years. I can give it in writing to you. So therefore, I think we should be very judicious in applying this technology.
You say give the option of surgical to everybody. If they don't,
if they have multiple comorbidities, yes, they can go the TAVI way. But not all patients who are low risk factor, and at 45 you are suggesting to do a TAVI, which is not right. No, sir. I see on our list 51-year-old gentleman going for a TAVI, which is not right. And if you don't know how to explant a TAVI valve, it's going to be a disaster. And if you don't have any experience in dealing with aortic root anatomy, it's going to be a disaster. Read this article. ATS, I'm not talking about learning curve, I'm talking about the technique. April 2024 Annals of Thoracic Surgery. The fastest growing operation in America today in the adult cardiac surgery is explantation of TAVI valves. And our people don't have that money to do the operation over and over again. And with a mortality of 15 to 20%, which is not acceptable.
I completely do not agree with what you say, because most of the time you see the data, this longevity is about 7 to 8 to 10 years. Even if it is there, you can always do TAV with that, and there is no problem. TAV is another good process. There is no need of explantation of the valve. Put another TAV valve, that's it.
I think we can discuss the.
That is later. Okay, thank you very much. I will finish it, but I personally see surgical aortic valve replacement is indicated today when TAVI is not indicated. This is today. Yes, before that, TAVI, surgical aortic valve, TAVI was indicated when surgical aortic valve replacement cannot be there. This was earlier.
But again, we can discuss the few aspects in the lunchtime. Thank you so much. Can we have the next session now?
Thank you, Suvir, for giving this opportunity.
The next session we have is Dr.